Alright, so we are back into another Dragon Ball Super card game video. This one's different. I'm not alone. I got two people abroad, international. I got Sandy, the Janemba slash Meal slash Mirror slash Master of everything, Janemba. And then, of course, Fluffy Taco, who goes by Renee, so I'll refer him as such from our Discord and as well as just in general. One from the Netherlands, right? And then one from Oxford, which is England, right? And I'm just gonna mess it up. It's just gonna happen. But how are you guys doing? You guys can introduce yourselves if I didn't do it right there.
No, I mean, you made me sound very good, much better than I probably am, so I appreciate that. I'm Sandicator. I came third at Euros. Thanks for having me on. It'll be good to talk about the state of the game in Europe.
And I'm Rene, as said, owner of TCG Collectibles, tournament slash web shop for the Netherlands, and we were vendors during Euros. Cool.
All right. There you go. I was just about to ask what was your actual store, because I actually didn't get that information. But I'm glad. Definitely check them out if you are in the area. And we'll kind of go through a little bit there. But we have a player's perspective, my perspective, obviously from the US. As, you know, I'm not going to talk too much, but also from a TO and as well as owner perspective from a store. But we're going to go through a number of different things. But the main reason why we're making this video and why I wanted to take time to actually talk about it is because of just Europe and the situation of DBS and the cards, the sets, the releases, a lot of different things that people aren't aware about. If you aren't aware about it, if you're questioning about either the title or just in general, I'm sure they can give you a little bit more insight. But the main thing here, or the main thing I want to go over first, is kind of an overview and as well as like a high level sort of reasoning of what the main issues are in Europe. And Sandy, if you want to go ahead and start from a player's perspective, what that is.
Our competitive scene is very small. There's not that much. Not many of the local game stores in the UK are investing into Dragon Ball for reasons we'll get into, which hurts the game. Prize support is not great. We're not getting much love from Bandai. I think that's about it. I don't really want to go too in depth because I think we'll go more in depth as the video goes along. So it's just not what we're just not getting as much love as the US is, and it does affect the game.
Right. Definitely. Yeah, a lot of those things that you mentioned, we're definitely going to go over, and as well as give a little specifics. And I'll throw in a couple things from the website, which I'll put up on the screen, maybe even mention, and as well as stuff on the Facebook. There's a lot of people, well, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but a number of people have been, you know, mentioning that and trying to get a little bit more word out there. But Renee, how about you from an owner slash TO's perspective?
Yeah, I think that Sandy hit the nail in the coffin. I think there's a lot of things that are wrong, but some of them are vital to the game and some of them are less important. And I think that there's like 3 or 4 main aspects which Europe currently is massively lacking in comparison to the States. But as Sandy said as well, I think we're going to go into detail a bit further on.
Okay, sounds good. So same thing, or whoever wants to answer first as far as the scene, because Sandy did go ahead and mention that. So is it because that you guys don't have too much support why the scene isn't all that popular? Is it because that, or is it that people do want to play but you guys don't have the means to? What is it? How is it?
So I guess I'll lead off with this one. I think the biggest reason we don't have that much support is because local game stores don't want to invest into the game, and so we don't have much of a local scene. When I first started playing the game, I had to take a train 3 hours to Wales and then stay at a hotel just to play at a 4 round of Swiss locals because there was nothing around me. And that's because we are behind on sets, and set 6 has just been delayed for us, which a lot of people then import the boxes instead of putting that money into their local game store. So the local game store, they just have people coming for tournaments. No one's buying the product. Everyone has the product before they do, so they don't want to invest in the game. So yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. And I'd imagine that sometimes, well, I guess is it the imported box is more expensive, or is it the stuff that? And you can answer this, Renee.
No,
is the stuff like more
funny
expensive for them?
The funny thing about this is, even if I import items from America,
Hmm.
and even if customs pick me out randomly, and I pay all the shipping fees for it and the PayPal fees included, I am still a lot cheaper off than when I'm buying it from the own distributors,
Oh wow.
which hurts the game as well because I know that they have to make some form of profit as well. To give you an example, I have been able to buy boxes for as low as $60,
Hmm.
roughly translated €53. And if I buy them from a local distributor, I pay over €62 per box, and then sometimes still have to pay shipping depending on which one it is.
Wow. Okay, so what's that in US money? So that way people can understand
I
the
think that
perspective.
if you compare it to, for example, the $60 we import it from,
Hmm.
take into a rough estimate, $72.
Ah, okay. So even to buy the box from Bandai, it would be $72.
We don't buy them from Bandai because that's the issue. Bandai ships it to a distributor, which
Oh,
is
right.
either Asmodee the Netherlands, Asmodee UK,
Hmm.
or previously Blackfire, now known as Asmodee Germany.
Hmm.
Even company-wide, they don't have the same policy for prices because Germany is far cheaper than, for example, the UK or the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And I think that then you're going into one of the main issues that I have as a company as well. Because I'm from the Netherlands, my main distributor is Asmodee the Netherlands,
Hmm.
and they don't say it with as many words as I am going to say now, but they really do not care about Dragon Ball.
Yeah. And that's because of, I'm guessing, the stock, or just because of the priority that Dragon Ball has, or the low priority that Dragon Ball has, I guess.
I think it's because it's a company that does a lot. They do board games, they do special events, they do Yu-Gi-Oh! They did Yu-Gi-Oh! Sorry, they
Hmm.
did Final Fantasy, but they lost the contracts for both of those TCGs.
Yeah.
That should give a signal as to how good they are.
Right. Okay. I understand that. You know, for the US, as I've seen, the main distributor is GTS, right? So I'm guessing it's a lot easier for them, and as well as the stores and LGSs, etc., to get product and to ship product and to move that, versus it is in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. All right. Well, how about the interest? And this could go to you, Sandy. It could go to you, Renee, as far as the interest. So obviously, your championship, right? A pretty big event. That was a big deal. Are people actually interested in playing the game? I mean, what's the deal there?
Well, if you, for example, look at
you had.
Euros, yeah, sorry. If you look at European Championship, they had to cap it at 256 people in order to. That was the max capacity of the venue. I worked with Tournament Center quite a bit and very closely because we were vendors there, and they told us they, at the end, had to turn down over 44 applicants, and they had roughly 70 people randomly emailing them, "Can we still register?" So not having applied yet, but showing interest.
Yeah.
Even though that was not a very well developed state, I mean, it was very messy. Very little to no information was known prior to the event. It was all something new for everyone, so we understood that part. But the European community did show in great number that they wanted to travel abroad. I mean, the
Mhm.
number two came from, I'm thinking, Finland or Sweden or something.
It was Denmark. Casper, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he's Danish.
Yeah, he's
Interesting.
Danish. So we as a Dutch company traveled with, I think, about 17 Dutch players. A lot of UK players came. Italy, Spain, Portugal.
Right.
Basically, every country except for France and Italy was well represented there.
That's crazy. That's actually insane when you really think about it. Just the amount of people from different countries. Like, yeah, sure. In the U.S., we'll have the tri-state area, which is like New York, New Jersey, etc. From people like Orlando and people like from Atlanta, stuff like that. People from there, you know, those kind of places, going to that location in Atlantic City, right? But from a country to another country, or one place that is completely different to another, I think that's actually crazy. That does speak to like the interest, I think.
Yeah.
But Sandy, did you have something to say too on that?
No, I mean, the interest is definitely there. The issue in the UK that I find is that people aren't really willing to travel that far within the UK unless it's for something as big as Euros. We recently had London Players Guild, which holds the biggest quote unquote Dragon Ball tournaments in the UK. Their prize support isn't great, which doesn't bring a lot of players in. I think this weekend we only had like 30 players for what was supposed to be one of our bigger tournaments. So the interest is there, but yeah, the interest is there, but I don't think there's enough incentive for people to want to go to these things, because the prize support is really lacking, because we don't get much from Bandai, so they just sort of have to put up the prize support themselves.
Right. Exactly. So, and we're definitely going to talk about that. It kind of leads into the next question as far as the differences as far as like the European scene as well as US. So Sandy, you can take that one, since you just got back from celebrations and flew back into your own hometown. So what do you think the biggest difference is as far as the European scene in the US?
Besides the size of like players, because what did Orlando had like what 400 players for singles, maybe
something like that.
Just the amount of players, and then the prize support. Like, the prize support in the US is mad, whereas Euros, I came third and I practically got nothing in comparison to what the third place player at Nats would have gotten. I think in side events I probably earned more packs than I did coming third at Euros. So,
which is
definitely that
wild. And that was like, not even, well, I hate to put you down or anything like that. I mean, just don't. I mean, you topped in Euros, but then in celebrations, you didn't even have to top to actually get that amount of pricing, right?
No.
Right. Okay. And just as a free question, I guess, for you and as well as Renee, do you guys think the meta is different between the US and European type of meta type of thing? Mindset?
I guess I'll lead off with that. I don't think the meta is different. We definitely have a very similar meta. Almost all this in Manchester is quite aggressive, but it's normally the same as it is in the US. I didn't see any difference in the meta from what I played in the UK to what I played in the US. But because you guys get the product first, we don't have an establishment of the meta in between sets. So we really miss out on that phase of us trying to figure out what's good, like the spicy decks that people are trying to build in set 6, stuff like this. As soon as the set is out, everyone knows what deck they're playing. So we sort of lose out on that very interesting phase of the meta establishment, which would be cool to experience ourselves, but we haven't yet gotten to experience that.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Well, that's a bummer. Well, Renee, how about you? What do you think the biggest difference is?
I think that, for example, celebrations for Europe and the US has been promoted very differently as well. Where we in Europe have basically a 32-player capacity maximum, and the US has no cap. That goes hand in hand with the pricing difference that we're going to go into later on, which is appalling in my opinion. But the simple fact that we get capped at several events, I mean, every BCC tournament that we try and host is maximum 32 players, even if I can host it for more.
Right. Okay. Crazy.
Yeah, it limits what we can do if we have the people for it, which is weird to me.
Yeah, because I mean, if like 100 people, 150 people want to play, that's great. It's just that only 30 people can play, apparently.
Yeah, we used to host tournaments for Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic, and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
And we've never had an organizer tell us that you can basically maximize your player capacity at 32 players.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's insane. Why do you think that is? Is it... I actually can't get a good reasoning for that. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. But for you, Sandy, or for you, Renee, what do you think it is as far as those caps?
I think that if we, for example, as a tournament and as a web shop or shop in this case, consider it, it's very weird because even the distributor that we've spoken to earlier today was shocked by the fact that it was capped. They had no clue of this.
Right. It was just one of those things that just kind of came up.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because we discussed this with them and asked them why would somebody try and cap it, and they said, well, they probably, but that's an assumption, don't think that you're going to have as many people to even reach the 32. We had to turn down 40 players already for the celebration event that we applied for.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
that's a good chunk.
People, yeah, there is people wanting to do it.
Right.
The downside is because it became a local event, you can only host it for 32 people, or at least you get the prize support for 32 people, so you can host it for more, but you don't have the support. So you can't even hand out the participation prizes. What I'm doing now is trying to get it from abroad and get more people in, but that's very difficult and very expensive.
Totally. I mean, it's especially since, you know, Sandy was talking about incentive. It's just that big thing. Like, why should I go here, or why should I travel this much, or why should I spend this much money, spend this much amount of time, when the player might be the player cap might be there and I might not be able to play. Why should I do this when the US is getting all these prizes, or this pricing, when we don't get that much, you know, that type of thing. So
yeah,
that's just insane.
If you, for example, take the celebration event, which we made a Facebook post about earlier as well. If you look at Europe, the participation prize is 4 Broly Pack Volume 3s.
Oh, I was literally gonna go into that. I was gonna segue.
Okay.
Yeah, segue. I was thinking about that. I was like, wait, that is you, Renee, aren't you?
That is me. Yes.
Yeah. So just segueing into pricing, since that's probably one of the biggest points for this. You know, the comparison, and I'll put it up here. You guys obviously won't see it, but I'll put it up here in Renee's post, and saying like the comparison between just the celebrations in the US and your guys's, or just in general, right? So I think that's insane. I think, like,
so
if obviously we all have access to the DBS website, so like we can all see it. So European, US or not, we can kind of compare and be like, okay, well, why are they getting this and why are they getting that, right? So I think that's just insane. But you can go ahead and talk about it. Sandy, you can definitely talk about it as well.
I'll let Sandy go first, though.
I mean, celebrations, that's just it. The pricing is, I think, garbage because they've decided to do it on the local level, as compared to holding these huge events like they do in the States. As far as, like, if we talk about difference in pricing, if you want to go into the difference in pricing in euros, it really just feels like we've received the leftover prize support from what they had at Euros. Because I mean, only top 3 got medal cards, whereas at your American Nats, it was top 32 got medal cards. I got maybe 3 playmats and like 60 promo packs in total, and that was for coming third. So we just seem to get much less than what you guys seem to be getting.
Right. That's just mind boggles me. I think there's a lot of different factors to it, and I we'll obviously talk a little bit more about it, but that just mind boggles me. Like I think, you know, if I, like, from your perspective, Sandy, then continuing on that, would this incentivize you to actually go to one of the celebrations if you could?
Oh, well, my like in the States again, or or like at my local?
Your local. Your local.
Oh, well, my local, I push my local very hard. My local, I think, is one of the big reasons I'm doing as well as I am now. So yes, I will be there. I push all of our things. So I'm very attached to my local. So I'm going to be there no matter what the prize support is. I'm going to be there supporting my local. So I don't think the prize support for me, as far as supporting my local, is important.
Okay, well, that's good, and I think that's a good perspective to have. Just to, you know, if you love the game, if you love the people in it, and you want to promote it, then that's good. But Renee, since you did make the post, how are you feeling about that? Tell me how you really feel.
I'm gonna be completely blunt. basically quote what I said earlier today on the post as well. Bandai is basically taking the piss out of Europe with this. Where I fully understand that when Bandai decided to make it on a local level, they had to cut down in pricing. Fully understandable. If they even would do a quarter of the price support they did for you guys, I would have no problem with it. But if we, for example, just look at top 16 in comparison to what you guys get and in comparison to what we get, it's night and day. It's not even funny. Even though the fact that we're capped at 32 players, we get one playmat. It's going to be this exact same playmat as is going to be your participation playmat.
Right.
So you have to win the entire event to get the playmat you guys get for free.
Wow. Okay, so that's stupid.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go back into pricing differences as well.
Yeah.
I flew from London to Orlando, and got a hotel, and I picked up extra pricing there, and I picked up stuff there to sell here. That paid for my trip. Like all the pricing I got, my trip's been paid for.
Yeah, that was
so
super plus.
It makes like I can fly all the way to the U.S., spend X amount of money, and then I'll just bring this stuff back, and because we get nothing here, I'll just sell it, and I've made my money back. So I think that in itself is insane.
That is one of the reasons that we are looking into traveling abroad as well, even though we are going to fly to Miami and PPG and talk to them about this as well in mid-April. But we are going to probably go to more events. I've spoken to Sandy about this as well. Just as a player itself, it becomes worth if you, for example, travel abroad and by the sheer number of packs that you guys get, come back here, sell it here, and basically bank.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm even doing a giveaway tourney where I'm giving away like 100 packs. I'm giving away playmats, Broly Pack 3s, just to bring people to my store, and I've still netted, and like even of taking like money aside and things like that, the trip itself was worth it just to go and play in the States because it's so much better there than it is here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think there's some obvious disconnects when it comes to the pricing, and like again, it just all comes back to incentive for me. Like I don't know if I would waste my time just to go somewhere that I know is being shorthanded, and just like how you guys are saying, the leftovers, that's kind of what it feels like. And kind of I was I was being, you guys don't have to, Renee, you don't have to publicly speak out, but I was reading some of the comments as far as like the posts and saying how like the market is smaller, but I'm like, well, the market is only smaller because the people are there. I feel like the people are there. It sounds like from what you guys are saying, the people are there. The market's only smaller because there's not, again, one for incentives, and the other part of it is the LGS is not getting support, and as well as the communication from Bandai, and as well as the distributors. So I think that's obvious. And then the other part, the same guy said that the Americans spend more money. I don't think that's really true. I think
That's completely
No.
yeah, I don't think that's true.
But the thing is, sorry, Sandy. The thing about this is, we as a store basically stopped selling Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Vanguard, and solely focus now on Dragon Ball. If there is no market for it in Europe, we wouldn't be able to do this and stay afloat, which we are doing very well at.
Yeah.
Mind me saying, but the market is here, the people are here, the money that they want to spend is beyond idiotic. I mean, we turn over 5 figures a month as of the last year, consistently.
Yeah, I can speak from my local game store. When they opened up, where I live, just outside of Oxford, huge Magic community. Like we've got Nathan Hills, who's a Mythic Champion Tour player or something. So he flies to the US to play in the Pro Tour, all this stuff. And we've got a couple sponsored players. And I was the first one. I wasn't the first one playing DBS, but I was pushing DBS. And now, as soon as we stock something in, especially special packs and Tournament of Power, it's gone within a day. Like this stuff sells like mad, and like the Magic sales, I don't think even compare to the Dragon Ball sales at my local, because people love this game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely hear that. I think some of it is that Bandai doesn't. You know, I'm trying to figure out as we talk about this, but maybe it's just a business thing where, again, maybe they think the market is not as big as that it seems, or maybe it's smaller than it seems that is, and maybe they don't want to take the chance.
I think it becomes a vicious circle now, because what's happening right now, what I've noticed as well, is at first we were not importing, we were basically buying from the distributor, so we got the product later, we paid more, and we had more difficulties getting rid of it because there were competitors importing product from the States. As of set, I think 4, and especially with the Ultimate box, we imported 80 of the Ultimate boxes the first time around from the States.
Right.
Paid €21 less per box than we would at our local distributor.
That is a lot.
Yeah. Sold them within 2 days. We bought 170, and I think we have 30 left now.
Wow.
So
okay,
we bought more than 250 we bought roughly 250 boxes, and within the time span of, let's say, 4 months, we've basically got 30 left.
Wow. Okay.
So the thing about the European market seeming to be small is something that works hand in hand with the fact that we get our product very late, if at all.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Well,
yeah, going into set 6.
Completely. Thank you for segueing into the other topic. As far as set alignment, and as well as set 6. So one of the biggest things that, and we're going to come back to what you're saying, one of the biggest things, and one of the things that have been floating around, is that set 6 is being delayed for Europe,
issues.
basically. Yeah, for weather issues. And if you take a look, which I will again put on the screen if I remember, on the website, that I think the Series 5 and 6 tournaments have been pushed back, and then a couple other events have been pushed back. But all that kind of literally got delayed, and I don't think this is the first time it happened, right?
No, we should have been, we should have been on point as of set 4.
Right. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
That's never happened. The only set that we got only 2 weeks later than we did in the States was Clash of Fates. We got that, I think, 10 days later, which was the least amount of time between US and Europe release.
I guess that's
what about Miraculous? That was pretty close, wasn't it?
14 days.
Yeah.
Because the issue with Miraculous Revival release was World Martial Arts Tournament was pushed back, so they released on the same day. So no one bought World Martial Arts Tournament.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, so where are we now? Then you guys are at set 5, and
Clash.
We've got
Clash. Yes, right. So you guys are officially, quote unquote, you can't see my hands, but officially on Clash. And obviously, if you want set 6, you're gonna have to import it, and that's where you guys come in, and that's where players and as well as other stores come in. So, what do you guys think about the delay? What do you guys how you guys feel? And Sandy, you can start. Renee, you can start. It doesn't matter.
What's your question? So how do we feel about what?
The delay, basically, for set 6. Is it expected? Is it just
I mean, the delay isn't expected. Like, they pushed it back a week, and then they pushed it back practically a month because of bad weather, which seems kind of sketchy to me. Like, how does weather delay a set like a whole month? I'm just a player. I don't understand how all this stuff works, but it just feels like back when we were delayed, because what Renee was saying, it's cheaper to import, and you also get the set before anybody else, so there's no downsides to importing. And local game stores, there's no point in them buying in products if no one is purchasing the sets because they already have it. Like, it's not good. It's not good for the game, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's nails it on the head. That's exactly what it is. It's not good for the game. It's not good for motivating the players either, because delayed sets is just stupid.
It's not
Yeah,
just
like you're like
innovating for stores as well, because
Yeah.
I'm going to be completely blunt about this. And you asked Sandy at the start of the question, was it expected?
Yeah.
I sort of made a joke towards a colleague or a competitor, or how you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we are going to get Set 6 on release, which was the 15th of March. Basically, we made a bet, and I won, because I said it's not going to be here before early April.
That's terrible, but funny.
Yeah. But it does become something that you take into account now, because, for example, if you look at what Sandy said as well, Reckless Revival, Clash of Fates, they were relatively short in comparison to US Europe release.
Mm-hmm.
So we started getting more and more trust in our distributors as well. So we made the pre-order that we were going to make for our own distributor. We placed that, and we had full faith in the fact that we were going to get the product when we were going to get it and when we were supposed to get it.
Okay.
Now to find out it's going to be delayed at least 1 month, to which I am going to be completely honest again, is I am not sure we are going to get it at the 12th of April.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be, I think I'm one of the few companies that actively admits importing stuff. We've imported the only product currently that we could find decently priced for the States, because you guys have been shortened as well. We've imported 80 special parts now.
Wow.
That's on the way here.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot.
We pay for the shipping. We pay. The funny thing about this is we don't get that from a distributor. We get it from a store, and we still are cheaper than our distributor here by a lot.
Yeah. I think per box basis, I think that saves you a lot of money.
Per special edition, we are $2.70 cheaper than we are, including shipping, including potential custom costs.
Wild.
Yeah, that's why we don't mind importing 80 of them.
I mean, do you get? We still have set 7 and 8 coming, along with the anniversary box, and the expansions. Like, I mean, is that stuff going to be delayed? Did they tell you guys anything about that, or do you guys?
Man, who knows at this point?
Even distributors don't know.
Man, I think that kind of sums it up. I think Sandy, you just saying who knows.
I mean, it's like it's like I have no faith in the people that make this game. I love this game, but it's just like, as a European player, you were sort of bringing our faith back up by catching us up quickly, and then now you delay it, and your reason is bad weather. It just doesn't feel right. So I'm not leaving this game. There's no reason for me to get deterred from it. But it's just another reason for me to be like, Bandai, what are you doing? Like, come on.
But I mean, others, if I had to guess, people who weren't as confident and wasn't as passionate, might be thinking it's dying, right?
Exactly.
Or going away. Because I think
a lot of people think that, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of a win-win for Bandai. Because like now, if you're not getting as much support, they don't have to spend as much money to print product and to waste money to ship it to distributors or whatever they have to do, and for the promotion and for advertising and for just general support, right? And contact and communication, all that time and money is now saved, because if you guys think it's dying and you guys get the product and you guys end up not buying it and eventually it just fades away, it's a win-win, because they didn't spend that much in the first place. So I think that's kind of slimy, a little slimy there actually. But I hope it does kind of turn around. But again, that kind of leads to the next question, and kind of the last couple amount of thoughts. But what do you guys think should be changed, and how should they do it? What should they do? What are the first steps?
I think I want to stay at Set 6 for one bit, because while you were saying this, I've basically logged on to the websites from my distributors. Mm-hmm. One of them hasn't even bothered with changing the release date, so they kept it at the original release date. Mm-hmm. And they basically have, in between brackets, is very likely to change.
Okay. So
it took Q2.
That was that was 3 days ago, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's safe to change that.
No, but the thing they changed is, in between brackets, they have posted now, is likely to change to Q2.
Okay.
As in the second quarter.
Right, yeah.
But no exact date is known.
Mm-hmm. So it could be April, May, June. Could be any of those. It's wild. Okay.
So when even distributors start losing faith in a game, then how is it possible for a card shop like ourselves, or players like Sandy, for example, to keep faith? I mean, we've had so many promises made by Bandai, by distributors. You are going to be at the exact same release date as the Americans by set 4. Oh no, it's going to be set 5.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be Clash of Fates. No, it's going to be... You basically lose faith. If somebody keeps lying to you, you really start to distrust them, I think. And that's basically what it becomes now. It's just... Basically, it becomes a game. Are they going to keep their word, or is it more of the usual stuff?
Right, and as an owner, I mean, that's money. You know, that's not only money, but your customers and as well as your demographic, right? So that's just money out of your pocket. So yeah, it's kind of a serious thing.
We lose face as well, because that's what some people don't get. Most of them are very cool about this, and they understand that if product is delayed, it's not our fault per se, but it's the distributor or it's Bandai's direct fault. So yeah, most of them understand this, but you always have some people who don't, and they just blame us for not having the product, especially when we have competitors who were quote unquote smarter than us and imported from day one. They have actually gotten the product now,
right,
and are able to sell it.
Right. Again, all this stuff kind of forces you to import and actually get the stuff that players need, like just to play the game. If I don't do it,
somebody else will.
Yeah, pretty much. So the other question, part of the question, of course, Sandy, you can chime in right after, but you know, that should be changed. Obviously, the communication and as well as following up on promises, right? Is that how they should do it? Is it like right after set 6 and all this debacle for the delay is handled? Everything after that, I'm guessing it's pricing and you know, communication, and as well as just like I said, following up on promises. So like if they say they're gonna do this and they say they're gonna do this and they say to do that, did they do it? Is that what they should change?
I think there are 3 things that we need to change in it. It's 1. Don't limit capacity for tournaments. 2, upscale the price support that Europe gets to even get close to the Americans. And I think 3, and maybe even 4, is find a distributor for the Netherlands that is willing and able to invest time and interest in the game. Because I have been dealing more with Asmodee UK, and I've been getting better replies from them than I have been from my own distributor. I've been... kind of a funny thing is, I've sent Bandai an email that we have called the Dutch offers 9 times, and they promise us we're going to call you back on different dates, different times. Every time we want to get our community manager or organized play manager, he's always in meetings, he's never around, but he'll always call us back. Never happens.
Right. And obviously, again, that comes back to the motivation and as well as just losing trust and interests.
Yeah.
So
you're not heard as a store. You're not taken seriously as a store or as a tournament organizer.
And in turn goes to the players, because you know you gotta try to have their back, but your hands are tied.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Sandy, how about you? You have the floor. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, well, Renee's pretty much on the money. Just a big thing is global release all at the same time. That's number 1. find a tournament organizer in the UK and work with them. Try and get us some actual events like you do in the US, like ARG, PPG, Core TCG, and then just up our pricing. Just try and, yeah.
I think that'd be good. You know, just as a player, that's the thing. Like for here, I live in the West Coast in the US. Core TCG and sometimes ARG comes down here, but we really only have 1 to 2 events, like per year, right? Like 1 to 2 big events. Like this year was ARG in Vegas, and then we have celebrations in San Diego, and then we have no idea what's going to be after June, which is technically when the regionals start for championship. So it's going to be interesting to see that. But I feel that when it comes down to the events and just a TO, what's the word? Dedicated, I guess, to that market as well as the area. So, I mean, hey, if I had the money, I'd become a TO. Like I would put the Stage Zero name on a TO. Like that's one of the things that I'm like, if I ever get that big. But no, I don't know if that's ever gonna happen too soon. But if anything, I definitely do agree with that. It's a lot of stuff that kind of comes down to it. As far as like, you know, to wrap it all up, I think it really does come down to that communication. All these promises that were kind of broken slash the I guess it just comes down to the support. You know, it's just not enough support. A lot of a vicious cycle, just like Renee was saying. A lot of that kind of thing, and it's kind of hard to see as here in the U.S. we're having a good old time. The game is very, very strong, and we're only getting bigger by the day. But in Europe, and as well as I'm sure a lot of other places that we didn't even discuss, are experiencing a lot of different downfalls and a lot of negatives. So I hope it does change. But as far as closing thoughts, Renee, do you want to go ahead and start with that? If you have any shout-outs, maybe.
Not shout out specifically, but one, for example, is for Tournament Center. The guys hosted the European Championship. They did an amazing job, and they've shown that Europe is a country or a province or whatever you like to call it that has interest in the game. They've really stepped up at the event as well to get it as smooth as they could.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, just in summary for Bandai, stop forgetting about Europe.
Yeah.
I think that sums it all up. Stop seeing us like the small child that you guys think we are.
Mm-hmm.
Give us the chance to prove ourselves, and we'll show you wrong.
Yeah, there is an interest. It's just that you guys have to have the tools to actually play the game. That's good. Okay, Sandy, how about you? Anything you want to discuss? Shoutouts?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Are you cool with me shouting out another YouTube channel, the big UK DBS channel?
Oh, I don't care. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, shout out to My Wife Hates Games. They're the big UK or Europe DBS channel. They do weekly meta reports on the locals in the UK. They put a lot of time and effort into the game. They do weekly podcasts. It's a lot of good content. They did almost all the Euros deck lists. If you want to support Europe and you want to see good content, definitely subscribe to them. Shout out to Ellipsis TCG, Eric Goodwin, Brian Coppola, the Wood Brothers, all of them. I love you guys. You guys are one of the big reasons I was able to make it out to Orlando, and one of the big reasons I'm getting somewhat recognized now. But in closing, I think Europe is important. The rest of the world is important. I see a lot of times when we bring up issues on the Facebook page, a lot of people just say, oh, it's Europe, it doesn't matter. The US is doing fine. But if Europe does well and the game can do well globally, I think everyone benefits from that. And if we have a global competitive scene, that would just be huge. So I think it's very important to think about the rest of the world and to, just put effort into.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I think if you guys are successful, we're going to be successful, and vice versa. Europe's a huge place, a lot of different countries, a lot of different perspectives, and a lot of different players that can change the game. And I'm interested to see that. And if you guys are getting held down by Bandai and distributors and all this stuff, it's really sad. But yeah, anything else, guys, before we close this one out?
No, man, I'm good. Thanks for having me on, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good as well. I'll send you the details of the web shop as well.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. I'll put it in the description, and if anything, I'm sure you guys will answer any questions in the comments. I'll answer whatever I can, but definitely like, subscribe if you are new, etc., etc. And I will see you guys in the next one. Say bye, guys.
Bye bye.
See ya.